This video is going to show you how you will receive your For Foundations for Literacy material and how to process them and organize them in a way that will be effective when you are teaching. In this box is the material that you need for your unit materials, frequently used materials, and practice time. What is not included in this box is your manual, your jump drive, your storybooks, and your My Practice books. Those will come with your kit if you ordered them just in a separate box. Now, this boxes can be overwhelming, but don't worry, we're here to help you. So, on your jump drive, in the folder labeled Production, you will find this document. It is titled Order of Materials for Production. This lists everything that is included in the brown box, in the order that it's included, and it gives you directions on how to organize the materials. Items that are highlighted in yellow should be stored in the frequently used materials boxes. Items that are highlighted in pink get stored in the practice time folders. And items that are highlighted in gray are digital materials. And I will explain those as we go along. The way we have organized it, as you saw in the previous video, there are 3 black boxes that house your frequently used materials. There are 3 bankers boxes which house your unit materials. And there's 1 brown accordion folder that houses your practice time materials. If you set these systems up, you print the labels and you label everything you need, then you will easily be able to cut your material and move it into the appropriate file. So I'm going to go into the box and I'm going to look at my document, and it says the first item are activity cards. Here are my activity cards. I am noticing that these activity cards have a gray line. You might not be able to see it, but you will once you start processing. They have a solid gray line, which means they need to be cut. So I'm going to cut them out. We recommend cutting them out with a paper cutter instead of a scissors. Number 1, to save you time, and number 2, to make cleaner cuts. So I've cut these all out. I'm looking at my document. It says activity cards and it's highlighted in yellow. Therefore, I know that these cut cards need to be stored in my frequently used materials. So I go to my box, I find the label that says activity cards, and I store them in the box. The next item on my list are sequence words. So I go to my brown box and I pull out the next document, which is sequence words. On the bottom of these cards, there is a label that says sequence cards. So even if you don't have this document or you forget, you can look at the bottom and it says sequence cards. Next to the sequence cards label, it says FUM. That stands for frequently used materials. So I know, based on the gray line that I see and the FUM label, I know that they get cut and put into the frequently used materials box behind the words sequence cards. The next item is Everyday Vocabulary Picture Card. And again, I see the yellow label and the gray lines, so I cut and store them in the frequently used materials. The next item I see has a pink label, which means that it is going to be stored in the practice time folder. So this is Narrative Practice Story Retell. I cut out each of the cards, and then I come to my practice time folder and store them in the Narrative Practice Manila folder. The next 4 materials are Make a Word cards, 2, 3 sounds cards. Now, I'm looking at my list and I see they're highlighted in yellow, so I know they need to be stored in the frequently used materials boxes. However, they are not going to fit. They are too big. So what we suggest is at the very beginning of your unit materials, put 1 folder that can house frequently used materials that are too big to put into the black boxes. All right, now I'm ready to go to Unit 1. So our recommendation is that you go into your brown box and pull up all of the materials that are for Unit 1. You can do this by using your list and also by using the labeling that's happening on your card. All of the materials will have the unit number in one of the corners. So I'm just going to flip through. Perfect. I know Unit 1 materials are done when I get to the next page that has a Unit 2. Now, to process these, I am going to follow my list and I'm going to file accordingly. So neighborhood map, in the parentheses is the number 4. That means there are 4 pages. I'm going to continue following along my list and following through my materials as I work through my unit. So here I am reading phrases, and I notice there's a gray solid line and gray boxes that surround the pictures. That tells me that each box or each of these pictures needs to be cut. Again, here are the character name cards. I see a solid gray line, so I know I need to cut those. As I'm processing and putting things into my box, I'm noticing that I'm coming to a material that's highlighted in yellow. I know that when I get to this material, I need to process it and put it into the frequently used materials because it's highlighted in yellow. So these are the practice time ABC match small letter cards. They are also labeled cut out, so I know they need to be cut and put into the frequently used materials. The same goes with the next item on my list, which are high frequency cards. Notice the gray line, which means they need to be cut, and the yellow highlight, which means they need to be stored in the frequently used materials. All right, so now I have come to all of my materials. They have all been cut according to the gray lines. They have been stored in the appropriate places. And now I see the digital only material bullet that's labeled in gray. This material comes from your jump drive from the folder digital only material. This is material that may be helpful for your students. It may be too easy, it may be too hard, so it is up to you to decide if that will be beneficial for your students. And if it is, you can print it. So that's an overview of how to process Unit 1. This document contains all of the units included in your Foundations for Literacy kit. And hopefully this will help guide you as you process through and create your kit so that you and your students can use it.